On Mountain News this morning, the case of Amber Spradlin continues to play itself out in the court as the three men connected to the murder were brought a new charge. And there was a deadly shooting in western Kentucky that police are calling a targeted attack.
Dedicated to eastern and southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News this morning.
Good morning, I'm Madison Carmouche. We are at 6:27 this Tuesday morning, and like I said a little earlier, our old faithful friend, the fog, is back and active. So let's send it over to meteorologist Tim Jawbridge for a look at your forecast this morning.
Yeah, but I'm not going to take your challenge on Madison of saying it 5 times in a row again. In the meantime, we will get the fog and low clouds to burn off by about 8:30. Got a delightful day on tap. Just keep in mind a little extra time to work in school this morning as our visibilities across our northern counties really isn't too bad. Same thing out toward Pikeville into West Virginia. 58. Good morning to you up at Ashland. It is 59 as you make your way toward the London Corbin Airport. 55 now in Williamsburg. 58 at Middlesboro. 56 your way at Pikeville. Just a scattering of some clouds on the overnight period. We will again burn off the low clouds and fog by mid-morning. And that leaves us with a lot of sunshine as we head through the rest of your Tuesday. A forecast high this afternoon up to 74. A record-breaking, let me try that again, a record low potential with the low temperature tomorrow morning. That was a better way to put it. More about your ARH First Alert 7-day forecast coming up in a few moments. Madison?
All right, Tim, thank you. Hazard is saying goodbye to a longtime outstanding member of its community. Dolores Jean Jones died at the age of 87 on Sunday. She was a former sales associate at Walmart and a member of Consolidated Baptist Church. The Black Gold Festival Committee expressed their condolences as well and remarked on how she dedicated her time to being a craft vendor for 43 years at the festival. We are learning more about a violent carjacking in Jackson County. Tracy Clemens died August 10th after police say Michael Edwards was in the process of stealing her truck and she held on, falling to her death. Yesterday, a deputy told a courtroom how Clemens ran out of the store and tried to stop Edwards' actions. Deputy Weaver next described how Edwards pointed a gun at people and struggled with London PD officers before his arrest.
He refused multiple commands to drop the weapon that he had and to stop resisting arrest, and after a brief struggle, he was placed under arrest.
Edwards is a convicted felon, and the Department of Corrections provided more than 160 pages of records from his time in prison. He was on supervised release that was not supposed to end until November. Family and friends of Amber Spradlin were back in the courtroom on Monday as the three men charged in connection to her murder were each arraigned on an additional charge, and motions made since their arrest were brought before the judge. WYMT's Buddy Forbes shares yesterday's updates.
With Michael M.K. McKinney's attorney receiving a $500 fine for contempt of court.
I have a problem with it, so I want to highly contend.
A ruling that Dr. Michael McKinney is allowed to return to work as part of his home incarceration.
Just felt like there needed to be some explanation there as to why he needed to work more now when he couldn't see patients than he did when he was able to see patients.
And a bond reduction from $100,000 to $50,000 for Joshua Mullins.
It's not totally unexpected given the charges.
The three men arrested in connection with the murder of Amber Spradlin were back in the courtroom Monday, each pleading not guilty to superseding indictments.
We just have to take it day by day and see how it works out.
An additional count of tampering with physical evidence was added to the respective indictments for the men, with investigators claiming they planted a knife that was not involved in the murder at the scene of the crime.
It floors me that they thought that they were that much smarter than the Kentucky State Police and Brent Turner, that they were going to be able to throw this investigation off by planting a knife in a couch.
While she says it is promising to know the investigation is still yielding results, Spradlin's cousin Debbie Hall hopes to see more progress come before the trio is back for a pretrial conference in October.
With this development, we think there's still a chance that some more information will come out, and some of these other people that we feel like had a part in it will have to answer for their part also.
Saying every day in court is a day closer to the truth. In Floyd County, Buddy Forbes, WYMT Mountain News.
The men are expected to be back in court October 24th. Troy Campbell's murder trial was underway yesterday after appearing in Perry County. Campbell is charged with killing 29-year-old Ryan Whitaker in Hazard in February of last year. Officers said Whitaker was shot in a driveway at a home on Gamble Drive. Shortly after his arrest, Campbell's attorney told the court, quote, "It's a self-defense case." Jurors were selected yesterday. 3 people were shot outside of a Kentucky courthouse Monday morning. The shooting happened outside of the Harden County Judicial Center in Elizabethtown. Chief Jeremy Thompson said this was a targeted shooting and the victim who died was dating the suspect. A total of 2 women and 1 man were shot. Thompson said the victims were family members of the person who died. A person who heard the shots tells us what she remembers.
All I heard was gunshots, about 7, 10, 12 gunshots, and that's when we seen the body land, and the sheriff was telling us to go back into the courthouse.
Several schools went on lockdown as a result of the shooting. Police said the chase ended in a standoff in western Kentucky where they said the suspect, Christopher Elder, shot himself. Police said he was taken to the hospital in critical condition. Governor Andy Beshear posted on X encouraging people to pray for those impacted. During the weekend, the Pulaski County Sheriff's Department responded to a shooting that left 1 man dead. WYMT's Austin Hicks reports on the investigation and the increase in violent crimes in the area.
On Sunday, officials with the Pulaski County Sheriff's Department were called to an apartment complex off Highway 90 in the Braunston community after a shooting occurred. Upon arrival, deputies found 1 victim, Marion Flanagan, dead at the scene, and the potential suspect, Kevin Janowinski, attempting to flee the scene.
Upon getting statements, we found out that he was the person of interest in the shooting, so we worked the scene down there at where the shooting occurred at, and then we brought him back here to the sheriff's office, where he was later charged with murder and possession of a handgun by convicted felon.
Even with the suspect in custody, there are still questions left unanswered.
We got the suspect. We know we got a suspect in custody, but we still want to determine the motive and that kind of thing, just shore up our case.
This shooting is just the latest violent crime that the Sheriff's Department has seen this year. Just last week, 3 people were charged in connection with an attempted murder of a woman near Somerset.
It just seems like lately the value of human life has just went down. People doesn't respect. They get into an argument where they used to just fight it out and go on, or argue and go on. Anymore, people are pulling guns and using guns and to settle their disputes.
Sheriff Jones says that the increase in crime is hard to stop, and the department is doing everything they can do to lower that number. While Jones says it is hard to stop instances like this from happening, he hopes that people will call the Sheriff's Department instead of resorting to violence.
Before something like this happens, pick up the phone, call 911, give us an opportunity to come out, investigate, and if there was an issue, for us to have come out and settle it in a different fashion.
At this time, the suspect is in the Pulaski County Detention Center. In Pulaski County, Austin Hicks, WYMT Mountain News.
Sheriff Bobby Jones says the department is working hard to complete ongoing investigations, and they urge patience so they can make a difference. A man was arrested after reportedly driving under the influence and crashing his vehicle. 40-year-old Matthew Wooliver of Williamsburg was arrested on Friday morning. Officers from the London Police Department say they were called to a crash at the intersection of Kentucky 192 and 229. They say Wooliver had left the scene. He was found and arrested, now facing charges of leaving the scene of an accident and driving under the influence. The Whitley County Sheriff's Office is looking for a man who they say has an active felony warrant for his arrest. According to a Facebook post, Travis Canada has a warrant after a domestic violence-related assault on Sunday in the Rockhold community. Officials say they do not know where he is. Anyone with information on where he might be is asked to contact the Whitley County Sheriff's Department. The man who was charged with assault following a shooting that led to schools going on lockdown was in court yesterday. Officials with the Wolf County Circuit Court Clerk's Office say Pedro Teresi's motion hour was postponed until September 16th. The shooting happened back in March, which led to a manhunt of Teresi's and also to Owsley, Lee, Breathitt, and Wolf County's schools going on lockdown. 3 people are behind bars after police executed a narcotics search warrant in Campbell County, Tennessee. The search warrant was conducted last Friday at a home in the Morley community. Deputies with the Campbell County Sheriff's Office found meth, firearms, and drug paraphernalia during the search. Amanda Jean Campbell, Ethan Campbell, and Austin Lee Muse were taken to the Campbell County Jail. A Barron County woman is facing charges after police were notified about her trying to crawl under a fence to gain access to a storage facility. It happened Sunday night when London police officers found Christy Johnson in close proximity to the original call and observed was manifestly under the influence. Police later found out that Johnson had an active warrant for her arrest. In Pulaski County, firefighters say one person was hurt after a go-kart crash. Officials with the Somerset Fire Department shared these photos on social media. Somerset fire crews say they responded to this scene near Pulaski County High School, where the driver of a homemade go-kart was hit by a car. At least one person was flown from the scene and taken to the hospital. Crews in Rockcastle County worked to put out a house fire. It happened just after 9:30 Sunday night on Sinking Valley Springs Road in Mount Vernon. When crews arrived, they found a fire coming from one of the windows. Firefighters say they had to use about 1,000 gallons of water to put it out. No one was home at the time of the fire.
Quiet in the weather department? Saying ain't so, right? We got some fog to wake up to and watch that burn off over the next hour and a half, maybe 2 hours. Otherwise, high pressure, in control, not only for today, the next several days. And I think the only thing you can complain about is the fact that it's going to be a little bit cool, not only this morning, the next several mornings. It's 54 outside our door right now. Winds are calm. One of the ingredients to the fog that's developed over the last few hours as we head through today. And by the way, if you think 54 is cool, wait until tomorrow morning. We're looking at temps close to 70 at the lunch hour and up to 74 for a high this afternoon. More about your ARH First Alert 70 forecast and our next chance of rainfall. You're going to have to wait a while. It's coming up in a few moments. Madison.
Thanks, Tim, and thank you for joining us. The time is now 6:40, still to come on Mountain News this morning. Breakthrough or breakdown? There is major uncertainty over the future of ceasefire talks despite agreement from Israel.